But before we take a closer look, let's just take a minute to consider why we should even trust Mark's gospel. Mark's gospel was written around 65 AD, just 35 years after Jesus' life, death, and resurrection, which for perspective, that's like us reflecting on the events of 1986. So if you have a vivid and trustworthy memory of the Chernobyl accident, or the last time Halley's Comet circled around the sun, or when you first watched the movie Top Gun, if you trust your memories of 1986, well, then you ought to trust the reliability of Mark's gospel. Now, by the way, if some of you weren't alive in 1986, well done you. But my guess is that you no doubt you wouldn't doubt the memory that the rest of us have of that year. We can trust our collective memory of 1986, and so we ought to trust the account that's recorded here in Mark's gospel. And we know quite a lot about Mark's gospel, actually, despite what Richard Dawkins may presume. We know that Mark was written by a scribe named Mark, one person, and he was a close associate of the Apostle Peter. So this isn't a case of a story being spread over time and changed over time. Peter spent 3 years as a disciple of Jesus. He witnessed everything. Peter was there at Jesus' death and his resurrection. And that means that this book that we have in our hands right now is an eyewitness primary source, evidencing Jesus' life, death, and resurrection. That makes this document the gold standard for historical study. Historians drool over the prospect of being able to consult a primary and an eyewitness source. And so this document is unique and special and authoritative. It's historical.